Hi, everyone. This is E. David Crawford from the University of Colorado, Editor-in-Chief of Grand Rounds in Urology. We are all aware of the effect of diet on disease prevention and outcome. Most recently, there has been an avalanche of information supporting the effects of not only diet, but also exercise on the outcomes of men and women with various conditions, including cancer. This was published in Oncology just recently. Intensive exercise may extend the life of men with advanced prostate cancer. As a matter of fact, in colon cancer, men and women that exercise actually have a 24% reduction in the rate of colon cancer. Just as an aside, today the American Cancer Society announced that colon cancer screening should begin in their mid-40s. Many studies in breast cancer have linked physical activity to better outcomes, and then some studies actually show a 50% lower rate of recurrence in women who exercise regularly. I can tell you that if this were a drug to prevent breast cancer or alter outcomes, almost all women would be taking it. We also know that there is a salutary benefit of exercise in prostate cancer. As a matter of fact, there is a 61% lower rate of death from prostate cancer in men who engage in vigorous physical activity less than a couple of times a week for an hour. We are honored today to have with us the author of the book entitled Choosing the Strong Path. Right now, this book is #1 in Amazon, receiving 5 stars. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Fred Bartlett. Fred is quite a guy. He is a graduate of West Point, a U.S. Army Ranger, a lawyer and engineer, first in his law school at the University of Illinois, and he is internationally known for his lawyer activities, a major litigator. He represented George Bush in the Hanging Chad and President Obama in the Deepwater Horizon Gulf Mexico oil spill. Fred is in his mid-80s and looks and acts like he's 50. He's made a major contribution by offering this book. I quite honestly encourage a lot of my patients and friends to read this book. Fred, thanks for taking the time from your busy schedule.
Well, it's my honor to be here, Dr. Crawford. I'll summarize that I got interested in intense exercise, maybe 25 years ago when I noticed my buddies that I skied with were all quitting. And I was loving to ski as I do today, and I started reading. And 25 years ago, you didn't read much about strength. And what's interesting, in almost the last 2 years, you see the leaders of your profession making broad statements. For example, Harvard Medical School just wrote that exercise has a bigger impact on disease risk than just about any other remedy. And the Center for Disease Control said regular physical activity is the closest thing we have to a wonder drug. These people are careful people and aren't used, David, to making these strong statements. The UK Academy of Medical Colleges, physical activity is a miracle cure for a wide range of conditions. And finally, Time Magazine recently wrote that exercise is a silver bullet that alters the natural course of aging by actually slowing down the aging of our cells. He said if there were a drug that could do everything exercise can do, it would be the most valuable pharmaceutical ever developed. And it's really been a revolution that the leaders are not resisting heavy, intense training. They're now adopting it. Now, people tend to ask me questions like, I'm 86. They tend to ask questions like, is it ever too late to get started? Well, Harvard Medical School has said that people that have had heart attacks, people that have had serious bouts with cancer can engage in intense physical exercise. Of course, I'm not a physician, and I have to say you got to consult with your doctor. A lot of doctors haven't heard yet about all the things that are being attributed to exercise, but you need to check with your doctor. And some say, well, how in the world do I get started? Well, again, Harvard Medical School on our website, which is strongpath.com, has listed the first 5 or 6 things you do to get started. I know the other day, David, when you and I talked, you said, can you do this at home? Doing it anywhere is better than not doing it. The body is so sensitive to exercise that even a 15-minute walk makes a tremendous difference. But because it is so sensitive, why would you want to stop with a 15-minute walk when you can change your entire lifestyle? I was never a great athlete, David. I got cut from every team I went out for. I was a ranger. I was a troop commander, but I was not a athletic freak. But because I've stuck with this, I could do everything at 86 that I could do when I was a ranger at 22, and I'm a better skier. And, life is not about living forever. Life is about, while you're alive, having every day be golden and wonderful, and that's what heavy weight training can do for you. Is there anything else you'd specifically like me to focus on?
Yeah, Fred, that's great. I think you're absolutely right about the acceptance of this by physicians. I think there's enough of this out here that we know about it, but it's not, we're in a society that wants pills to cure everything, I think, and this is work. How do we get people to adopt to this? How do we get physicians, and what's a simple thing that people can do, exercise that, weight training they can do in their house?
Well, when I do a lot of speaking, and it's still pretty certain that when I tell people who are there, if you ask your doctor, what about frailty with aging and what about strength training, he'll give you a blank look. The medical profession is not all over this yet. So this is a mission we're on, and it is truly a mission to get the word out there. There's a lot of ways of getting started. You can even do body weight stuff. There's a Navy SEAL TRX strap, and you can hang it over a door, and you can do all kinds of body weight exercise to get started. I do believe, gyms today are very inexpensive because the federal government has a program that pays for people over 65 to join a gym. Going to a really top gym, finding a top trainer is the best way to get started. And to me, because this is our whole lives, guys, we want to do the best way. But if you want to get started at home, you can get a TRX system. You can get a set of dumbbells ranging from 5 to maybe 40. And you can look at the Harvard way of getting started that's on our website. And you can do curls, you can do shoulder presses, you can do bench presses. And there's a lot of new learning. I go around to universities and I talk to exercise physiologists at places like Northwestern and Illinois who are training women's teams, because women have not been trained with weights for all time like men have. And these guys are amazing young men. They're PhDs. They're in their 40s. And they taught me that we've got 2 different kinds of muscles. We've got slow twitch and fast twitch. Slow twitch are endurance. Slow twitch are what you exercise when you go for a nice walk in the evening, ride a bike, or go for a slow run. But 60%, roughly, and it differs from person to person, 60% of your muscles are fast twitch muscles. That's what you need not to fall down when you trip. That's what you need to hit a golf ball. That's what you need to keep playing tennis. That's what you need to sprint like crazy. That's what you need to ski. And the only way to exercise, not the only way, but the easiest way to exercise your fast twitch muscles is to start lifting weights and have your last few sets be the heaviest weights you can handle to failure. Maybe 4 reps to failure. That means you couldn't do 5 in good form. Maybe 8 reps to failure. Get the feel of going to failure. And we've picked a lot of test subjects and worked with them for the last 3 or 4 years. And there's all kinds of side benefits from this. For example, people who get strong, their self-esteem goes way up. And, self-esteem is pretty damned important. And people who have good self-esteem perform better. They're better doctors. They're better lawyers. They're better everything. Their lives are better. So there's way more than we can talk about here in the short time today. But we have yet to even get a full grasp of the spin-off impacts that strength training can give us.
And your book is really phenomenal. It goes into case studies on various people and then what the outcome was, in addition to a lot of explanation. I think one of the challenges we face when dealing with the medical profession, including myself in this, and this is the first question I ask you, is what's the mechanism for this? And, we don't know, right? And it could be insulin growth factors, sugars, a whole bunch of different things. But what we do know is the major impact. And when we're looking at studies, 50% improvement in outcomes and survivals, and it keeps hitting us in the face and we're not doing anything about it, I think we have a problem. You said something to me the other day I thought was very important. And sarcopenia, most people don't even know what that is. You said something, you can sort of spot these people walking down the street, and you said it's like a death sentence. And so I'd like you to comment on that. And then the last comment might be on a comment you made about extended care and insurance for that and what's happening.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, Harvard has some good stuff out, and it's all on our website. You can acquire it through our website. We made a deal with them, one of the first people they've ever done a deal like this with. But they teach us that you can watch somebody walk, and you can tell if they're getting close to extreme frailty, even disability. When people who have lost their muscle strength at walk, they spread their legs wider because they are fear of falling. And a lot of times they have both feet on the floor at the same time. They take a step, they move the other foot next to it, they take a step, move the other step to it. Normal walkers always have one foot in the air and one on the ground. So you can just watch that side-to-side tottering, and if you've got that, or your granddad or your parents or anybody you know, it's a warning sign. I call it a canary in their coal mine. But this can be cured. A lot of the loss of strength is caused by the neurological system in the body, not just the size of our muscles. Our motor units get so they forget how to operate the fast twitch muscles. These motor units learn quickly, and you can triple your strength in maybe 6 weeks or so. The other point I made the other day is that I have a company I work for is an insurance company, a client of mine, and recently they told me that they are quitting selling these extended care policies that older people are buying to take care of them. Maybe 65% of people over 65 today are going to be confined to nursing homes, believe it or not. And nobody's immune, okay? But anyway, they don't sell the policies because they and all the other insurance companies have gone broke because people are being kept alive longer by the miracles of medicine, but they're not being kept alive better. They're being kept alive, but instead of having 1 or 2 years of sharp decline, they've got 7 or 8 or 9 years. And 90% of the costs of medical care come in those last years. So the insurance companies are seeing that as we keep people alive, just barely alive, that the cost of taking care of them is so great that nobody can afford to pay for it. The federal government set up a commission recently to study how to pay for the care of frail seniors. The commission quit with no recommendations because nobody knew what to do. And I know what to do. It's get started on the strong path pumping iron. I was a witness at the FDA conference on frailty last year. I was saddened, David, when most of the top medical people there didn't know the cause of frailty and didn't know that there was a cure. So all of us have a long teaching to do. I'm 86. I figure if I get 10 years left of teaching, I'll take that. But we just got to stick with it because people just don't get this.
I agree. You're Fred, your book is a game changer. I personally, it has been with me and the people that I've asked to read it and patients. I think it's one of the most impactful publications in the last decade, and I know you're going to be up for some sort of award for this, and you deserve it. And it's called Choosing the Strong Path. It's available on Amazon. I really encourage everybody to read it. And Fred, thanks for taking time from your busy schedule to share your thoughts with us.
It's my honor, David.